All right, well, it looks like it's 12 o'clock here Central Time. I guess we can get things cooking here on the webinar. I appreciate everyone showing up and attending today. I know that everybody usually has a pretty busy schedule, so I appreciate everyone showing up and hanging out while we go through this. So a little bit about myself. If you haven't attended any of the webinars I've done in the past, my name is Luke. That's my goofy face right there. I've been at Seiler Instrument for a few years now, and among other things that I do here with the company, Bluebeam certified professional and also a Bluebeam certified instructor. So I kind of like doing these webinars. It's another way to help me keep my teaching skills sharp, you know. So oh, and another couple of notes about the webinar itself. It is being recorded, so you know, if you have to duck out before it's all said and done, or maybe you weren't able to make it, you will get an email notification once the recording is live and available for everyone. Kind of before we get into the webinar proper, I did want to bring up Bluebeam Max, which is the latest offering from Bluebeam. It is very much like Bluebeam as we've known it so far, but it has some pretty serious augmentations going on. So, you know, we can incorporate a lot of the newer AI developments into Revu. And if anyone wants to find out more about that, you can just search for Bluebeam Max or bluebeam.com/bluebeam-max if anyone's wanting to find out more about this new advancement. And a lot of what it makes available is just automation of a lot of the more menial, time-consuming tasks. And it also does, you know, sort of like how they're showing here, that a lot of it helps bridge the gap between Bluebeam and some other applications like, you know, Revit as they're showing here. So, you know, there's a lot more happening with it than like what I have time to be able to discuss right now, but it is a pretty exciting new offering from Bluebeam. And yeah, go check it out. It's pretty neat. So today what we're really going to be discussing, and I'm not going to get too crazy in the weeds on any of this stuff, but I'm just going to, you know, kind of run through and highlight a lot of the ways that Revu 21 and its sort of peripherals, you know, allow us to better communicate with each other, with our teammates, with other organizations, how we can help facilitate that collaboration and communication, and make sure that the correct information is getting across to everyone. And Bluebeam really does help us simplify a lot of those steps. So that's mainly what we're going to be taking a look at today. So that being said, let's get over here to an open PDF that I have. As you can see, I've got a few markups here on the page. So talking about the markups themselves, you know, it's pretty easy to just have a markup here on the page, but maybe that doesn't always get the full point across of what we're trying to relay with this information. Now, certainly, you know, with this cloud, you know, I could have done something like a Cloud Plus, which would also have the text label along with it. You know, that's another method of providing some more information to go along with the markup itself. But the markup as it is also has other ways of communicating information. So, for instance, there's a couple of ways that we can leave notes on the markup itself. So one way to be able to do that is just to right click on it, and we can, you know, open up the pop-up note right here, and that this will bring up this text box for us to, you know, be able to type in whatever we need to whatever other information we want to relay along with this. Or also another way that you can access that function is just simply to double click on the markup itself, and that information will, or this dialog box will pop up for you in the same manner. So just to go through that again, we can right click on it and then open up pop-up note, or as I said before, I can just simply double click on it and bring that up. Also, that information is here in the properties panel. If you don't have that, I tend to keep my properties panel over on this side. Some of you may have it over here on the left side. Whatever's more convenient for you. That's how those panels are supposed to work. So that's why they're movable like that. But so either way, there's 3 different manners we can access the notes that we can apply to any of these markups. Markups also have another method of relaying some more information in the form of what is called a reply. So we can right click on it again, and if I come down here to reply, it's going to bring up this pop-up box down here within the markups list. And you can put in any kind of note that might apply to the situation. You just hit escape, and then so once that reply has been entered, we can see that down here in the markups list. Like we see the cloud, and then we can see the reply also, and then that information is in the markups list right down here. And another thing that we can do on these markups here to kind of relay even more information is to set a status for it. Set a status for the markup. So there's a couple different ways we can make that happen also. So I can set the status, right here from the markups list from this column. There are several different types of statuses that you can apply to a markup, and you can also, by going to manage statuses, you can create your own statuses if you need other options for those. So if we say need to come down here and set the status for that reply, I can say completed. Just another bit of information that we can apply to any of these markups to let everyone know that whoever I'm working with, let them know where I am in the process of these things. And we can also access that by right-clicking on the markup as well. So I can just right-click on it again, and then I can come down here to set status. And those are the same options that will be available to me on the markups list here as well. So we just have another way to access that same information. It's kind of another plus I always like to highlight about Review 21 is that there's multiple ways to get to any certain thing, any one thing within the application, and it's kind of set up like that purposefully. So whatever method makes more sense to you, that's the correct way to go about it. So so we can set these statuses, and also when it comes to say a situation where we may need to export this markups list as a markup summary, all of that information will follow this as well. So if we export this, let's say as a PDF summary, and it will basically create a brand new PDF by doing this. If we needed to export all of the information out from the markups list, any of the statuses I've set, any replies anyone has given me, that all of that information will follow that as well. Oh, and additionally, when a reply has been activated on a markup, you'll see the little icon right down here. And that also brings up the text for it as well. So that's pretty handy method to be able to see. Let's take another look at a different markup here. this is a carpentry punch key item. It's for, damaged trim. Another thing that we can do beyond leaving a markup here, just another way to sort of relay a little bit more information to those that I'm working with. If I need to really drive this point home, I can, not only do I have the markup here on the area where this trim is damaged, if I need to take that a step further, I can use what is called the capture function. So to access that capture function, I'm just going to right click onto the markup itself, and then I will come down to capture. And it's, if I'm working with a phone or a tablet, I can just use my camera that is built into the device. And if I have, just a file that I want to use that's already on my machine, then I can click from file. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Luckily, I've got a little image right there already assigned. And there again, we can see that the icon has changed next to the markup itself, and that lens icon there signifies that I have applied a capture to it. So not only do I have the punch key markup that is going to let someone know that there's trim damaged in this area, I also have this image that I can show them to let them know that that's exactly what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, to access that image, all I need to do is just double click right on that icon, and boom, my image that I uploaded, like I said, you can either do it from, a camera on the device if you're working with a device that has a camera built into it. Excuse me, my voice has been going out this week. It's starting to sound like Lemmy from Motorhead. So yeah, I've got the the camera icon, so I can use the camera that's on the device, or if I want to add more images to this, I can certainly add more. So if I need to explain further what it is I'm referring to. So that's just another method that we can sort of enhance the capabilities and the properties of any given markup that's on the page. So, just beyond putting a markup there and, adjusting the properties, the line color, the line style, however it is that we're signifying the information, we can take it steps further by either adding the replies or, adding something like a capture, or like I said, setting the status. And so, once this image or this PDF gets saved, and if I put it back in, drop it back into, either the shared drive of the for the company or the organization, or if I have it stored in, something like a studio project, which is what we're going to get into here in a little bit, that information will follow as well. Everyone will be able to see that also. So let's see. So considering the tools that we have available to us, there's much more that can be done just even with the tools themselves. So one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the companies and firms and municipalities, fire departments, stuff like that, folks that I've worked with, it's very commonplace to set up what was known as a something like a company standard tool set, something that keeps everybody on the same page. So let's take this Architect Revu tool set that I have right here. Let's say that this has been designed by someone higher up than me, and this is something that everyone on my team needs to be using, so that we're all maintaining the same styles of markups. Not making it too Wild West. So if this is a tool set that I know that someone else on my team needs, I can easily just click on this gear icon and then come down here to export. And then all I have to do is just choose where I'm going to save that. I can, like I said, put it into a shared location, on a shared drive somewhere. And it's just a real simple little BTX file. And, once I save that, I can, email it out, drop it into Teams, whatever I need to do to pass it on to other members of my team. That way, everyone can be making use of the same tools, if that keeps everyone on the same page and make sure that we're all relaying the same type of information. And likewise, if I need to import a tool set that someone has provided to me, I can come up here to my tool chest, drop down right up here, and come to manage tool sets. And if I'm going to import that BTX file that someone else gave to me, then I'll just select that and then navigate to the file and bring it in like that. And then once that is accomplished, it will just populate here with the rest of the tool sets that I have. So similar to how the tool sets themselves and the tool chest, any of these tool chest items really can be imported and exported to be shared with other members of my team. The same can be done with the profiles within Review 21. So the profiles, if you're not familiar with profiles, it's basically just the layout, how I have my panels set up, how I have the toolbars arranged. These are all essentially aspects of your profile. And depending upon the type of work that you are doing, certain toolbars might be unnecessary, certain panels might be unnecessary. So depending upon how you have your layout, you can save that into a specific type of a profile. And so like say I'm using Luke's review right here. If I wanted to export that profile out to someone, maybe somebody really likes the layout that I have, I can select that here and export that out. And there again, it's a pretty simple little file, easily shared. It's not nothing, no massive amounts of data needed to swap one of these out with somebody else. One thing that I will underscore when you're exporting a profile is that if you include dependencies, keep this checked. What include dependencies means is that anytime you export a profile out, you're also exporting out any tool sets or customized tools or custom line styles, any of that stuff that you have custom built within that profile, it will follow the profile as well. If you don't include these, then it's basically, it will just be the layout of review, how you have it set at that moment. And it won't include anything that is within the tool chest, or like I said, any sort of customized line styles that you have. Those will not export out with the profile if you do not have this include dependencies checked. So there again, it's just all about the type of information that you're wanting to relay. And then similar to that, if I want to import a tool set that someone has shared with me, or a profile, sorry. If I want to import a profile in, I can just select it here, navigate to the profile, and it will just populate right in among my list here. So it's just another easy way to sort of, like I said, you kind of facilitate that communication and collaboration and get everybody on the same page, working with the same tool sets, and keep the confusion to a minimum. So another important way that Review has, and they've really expanded a lot in this as of late, is their integrations. And this comes into play a little bit more. What I'm using here, I should probably make mention of that, is a web tab. If you're unfamiliar with that, to access a web tab, you just come up here to your window and then go to web tab, and it will just pop up a web tab. The difference is that it looks like a web browser, It doesn't completely have that capability fully yet. Like there's no search function. I know that's something that they're working on, so I would expect that to be happening pretty soon. So if you open up a web tab, you'll have to have the actual web address itself. Otherwise, you won't be able to navigate to it. But good thing is once you have something here and you want it saved, you have the bookmarks over here on this side. So going back to the integrations here, I do have that bookmarked. Here's some more some of the integrations that Bluebeam has available, and this comes in handy depending upon how you want to store your files. Like if you're using something like SharePoint, just a file hosting situation. Those can come in really handy because then you can still build your studio projects and studio sessions off of that. But there's a lot more to their integrations than just file storage. So even the plugins that like Revit or Civil 3D or AutoCAD have, those are integrations to a certain extent, maybe more on the plugin side, but there's just a lot of like Go Canvas. I know that's a really good one for them there. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to integrate Revu into many other different applications to sort of broaden its capabilities. And there again, I kind of, even though it's not maybe direct collaboration or communication, it is something that sort of facilitates that functionality. So I feel like that's a worthwhile thing to highlight. So and there again, if you need more information on Bluebeam's integrations, you can either search for Bluebeam integrations or the web address is right here as well. It might be hard to see on your all's end, but let's see. So seeing as I mentioned the Bluebeam Studio before, I think we'll just go ahead and make our way into that. Access that through my studio panel right down here. We'll take a look at studio projects first. So we have the two different icons here. We have our studio project side of this panel, and then we have our studio sessions side of the panel. So we'll take a look here. This is one that I started up just kind of as a test to basically be able to relay the let you see how the file structure for the studio projects works. So the studio projects, there's a few different ways that you can be joined to or invited, to a studio project. A lot of it's dependent upon how they're set up. Like this one, I basically just kind of, I set it up pretty plain. I didn't have any major securities on it or whatever. So like, if you wanted to come check out the files that I have in this studio project, there's basically the phone number for it. So that's kind of what I like to refer to those as is the phone number. But so if you've been invited to a studio project, you or yourself, whoever is involved with the studio project, the primary goal for the studio projects is file hosting. And the really cool thing about how the studio session or studio project works is while Bluebeam Revu is, of course, predominantly focused on the PDF side of things, when it comes to a studio project, it can work with far more file types than that. So let me just kind of open up this file here. So yeah, I've got an image file, a PowerPoint presentation, I have a Word file, Excel file. I believe that there's really only like 3 or 4 file types that exist that won't work within a studio project, but they're rather uncommon file types. So I wouldn't get too concerned about running into that as an issue. So yeah, we have, a lot more capability to be able to store multiple different file types that are associated with a specific project. So, even though we have, PDFs that we might be working on, we don't have to be limited to just PDFs as far as this project goes. So anything else that is associated with this project, any image files, text files, audio files, whatever, video files, those can all be stored in here as well. I just have two different folders created for them. So another nice thing about the studio project, and we can take a look at that on the studio session side as well. Let's say I'm needing to go do some work in the field. I'm probably not going to have an internet connection. I can, basically access the studio project. And then if I know I'm going to be losing my internet connection, it will notify me anyway, but I can also just click on this and disconnect from the internet. And while I will be working on this and I will not be connected to the internet, the moment that I do regain internet access again, and I reconnect, any changes that I have made during that time, let's just go ahead and open up that guy. So yeah, let's say I'm out in the field and I'm working on something on this PDF here. Whatever markups I add when I am finished will be assimilated into the file that is hosted online once I reconnect. So just because a file is open doesn't mean that it's quite ready to be worked on quite yet. So we can see the icon up here. It does show us a padlock icon. So I can just basically left click on it, and then I can check it out. And now the icon has changed, and that little blue arrow that's on there lets me know that it's mine, and I can start making any changes that I need to, apply any markups, and anything else that I might need to apply here while I'm out in the field. Make any changes known. So when I'm finished and I'm back online, we'll say I'm reconnected here, but I need to check this file back in. I just left click on that icon once more. And if I'm not quite finished with the PDF, but I want to update the copy that's there, I can select this and it will transfer what I have to the server copy, but I haven't relinquished control of the PDF yet. Or if I'm finished, I can just go ahead and hit check in. And if I have any notes I need to relay, as I'm checking it back in, I can do that. And it will update the server copy like that. And we can see up here with the padlock icon being back in place that I have now checked that file back in. So when we go, let's say if I were to close that out, and we're now back looking at the copy that is within the server, and I'll bring that up, and it does show that those markups that I added are there, in fact. And if I want to check out the revision history, I can select any of the changes, any of the saved changes that have happened since then. So I can open up the previous version, which we can see does not have my markups. And if I wanted to restore that previous version, I can just highlight that and click on restore right there. And that will basically allow me to revert back to an older version of that file if I need to. So, and there again, the icon up here is letting me know that this is part of the revision history. It's not the most current one. This one here is our most current one. So we have, a lot of different functionality that allows folks to be able to work, on the same files. At least with a studio project, I can check out a file and return it when I'm ready, and I know that no one else is going to be able to access that file while I haven't checked it out. So, it just maintains some security on it as well. So there's not too many hands in the project at the same time. But if we are in an instance where we need to involve more people into onto PDF and have more folks work on them at the same time, which is kind of Bluebeam's grand finale as far as online collaboration goes. That's what we have our studio sessions for. So we have a studio session side of the panel also over here. One thing that you can do, if you know that you're going to, let's say, of the PDF that I have stored in my studio project, I know that I'm going to need to use one of those in a studio session. There's something that, maybe 10 of us all have to have eyes on at the same time, and everybody needs to be working on it together. A quick and easy way to be able to quickly begin a studio session is just right-click onto any of the PDFs that you have stored, and then you can say add to new section, and it will open it up immediately as a brand new section. So you can see here that I have actually done that with this PDF here, and it shows me that with this icon that I do have a studio session active for this file. So let's go take a look at that now, and I'll just access that by switching over to my sessions side of my studio panel. And once I select that studio session that is open, we can see it here. So there again, similar to how the studio project works, this is going to allow multiple people to work on a given file or even a given set of PDFs, depending on how many we have open within the studio session. But where a studio, accessing a file through the studio project, only one person is going to be able to access that file and check it out and work on it at a time. But with a studio session, we are able to join in multiple people at the same time. So either if someone has been invited, if I invite people individually or through a group, I can do it that way. Or there again, we do have our studio session number that if I give this out to folks, then multiple people can join in. And so we'll have, our if we have an invited list, this will show who's been invited but has not joined. Well, I guess it actually just tells us that there, doesn't it? And on the join side, this will let us know exactly who is online. So if I had 5 other people here working with me, we would see, other names listed here. And so the markups and the work that we will be doing on this PDF all happen simultaneously. Doesn't necessarily have to. While the studio session is open, people can come and go as they have the ability to, but anyone that's invited can technically be all active at the same time. So there could be 20 people working on a studio session at the same time if necessary. So going along the rest of the panel here, we, like I said, we have the list of whoever might be taking part in that studio session. Down here, we have our documents list. If I had more documents added to this studio session, they would be listed below. And then similar to how our markups list operates, we have a record of everything that goes on here. So let me just add another cloud just for the sake of doing so. So that information becomes part of the record. And we also have notifications. So if someone else that I'm working with were to come and leave a reply on this, by, right, like I said before, right clicking and then coming down here and hitting reply, that notification would pop up for me here. And if I left any notifications for any of the others that are working within this studio session, they would have that notification pop up for them as well. So when the studio project ends, all of this information comes along. So when the studio session is finally completed, we have not just the completed PDF that shows all of the work that we've achieved during this time, all of the information about who was online, what times they were online, and everything that occurred while they were online, not just from the markups list, but from this record here will also be able to be downloaded once that studio session is completed. So there's going to be a lot of information, to be able to sift through and locate. That way we can see exactly what happened, when it happened, and who did it, and what conversation took place between those folks while this studio session was actually taking place. So yeah, there's the two big points for the two different sides of the studio panel is, the studio session is basically where all of our files are going to be hosted, and we can work on them. Multiple people can come in and work on items as they need to, come and go as they need to, check out a file, make use of that file, check it back in when they're done. And similarly to how we can work offline in a studio project, we can also work offline in a studio session. So if I have this accessed and I need to be somewhere, like I said, out in the field, maybe cell signal is spotty out there. So I'll be disconnected, and any changes that I make, and then the moment that I reconnect again to the internet, all of that information will be automatically uploaded to the active studio session, and everyone else who is working there with me will be able to see that information get uploaded as well. And then there again, like with the studio session, we do have that ability for everybody to be working simultaneously if need be. And there's a whole lot more details to really go into on a studio session. That I think that's probably just going to be another webinar. Like I said, I don't want to get too much in the weeds on any of these items. I just kind of wanted to highlight a lot of the ways that Revu does allow for communication and collaboration between groups and between teams and team members. So another aspect of the collaborative side of Bluebeam is what is known as Bluebeam Cloud. And if you're not familiar with Bluebeam Cloud, it's a really simple and really useful tool. You could kind of consider it like a mobile app, except it only exists within a browser. So it's basically Bluebeam's browser-based version of Revu 21. So this is a really easy web address for this too. It's just app.bluebeam.com, and I have it opened up here in a web tab. But if I had it open up in a web browser like, say, Firefox or Chrome, it would look just like this. Let me get my markups list a little bit more out the way here, and we'll close that. So one of my favorite aspects about these is that it just uses the same Bluebeam ID that I would use for logging into Revu itself. And along with the ability to, open up any documents. So I've got document uploading here. We'll just take a look at this PDF. Bluebeam Cloud has a lot of the same capabilities as Bluebeam Revu. We have a lot of markups that are available to us. If I wanted to add a cloud, I can do that. There are some of the measurement tools are not going to be available to us, but you can access, certain. If you make tools available online from your toolsets in Revu, they will they will also show up here. Not every tool can show up in Bluebeam Cloud, but there are a lot of them that can. But it's like we do have a lot of the commonly used tools. We have our cloud arrows, we have text boxes, and if we needed to add a capture, we can do that as well. But beyond being able to mark up a PDF in the same fashion as what we would use in Revu, except like I said, we're just using this in our browser. This would come in really handy, like if you're on a tablet out in the field, and you could still access the PDFs that you needed to, and still add markups. And beyond being able to work on individual PDFs or PDF sets, we can also use Bluebeam Cloud to access our studio projects or studio sessions. So I can access a studio session on my phone while being out in the field, and still be able to make use of that same document. This is exactly the same document that was opened up in our studio session here. So it just adds another way to be able to join into that collaborative effort. Yeah, so beyond being able to just access the studio sessions, I also have any studio projects that I might be invited to. I have access to all of those files as well. And granted, I can't make use of Excel files or something like that within Bluebeam Cloud, but at least I know I can store them there. But any of the PDFs that I have, I can certainly access. So I have all of that same capability of being able to access the files and work with other folks on these files, except this is just in a web browser. So whether I'm on a tablet or my phone out in the field, or I'm making use of someone else's computer in another office and I don't have Revu handy to me, I can just log into Bluebeam Cloud, and it essentially is my Bluebeam just hosted online. And this information is all hosted in Bluebeam's AWS servers. So it's secure. They're not terrible with having, they don't generally have a whole lot of outages. Every so often, I'm sure you all have noticed that sometimes AWS have an issue because Bluebeam goes out and Autodesk goes out at the same time. So there's, like I said, just being able to access our own documents and the studio projects and the studio sessions while being just within a web browser is quite handy. And like I said, it's just another way that we can join into those sessions and those projects that we have been invited to, and everybody still be able to work together and be on the same page and still get the same information across. So that's kind of the main points I really wanted to highlight as far as being able to collaborate together within Revu. And I guess while I'm mentioning it, and this kind of goes back to our integrations idea that we were talking about before. Granted, this studio project I have this is just a standard studio project. I have it hosted on Bluebeam's servers, or I guess the AWS servers. But if I have my integration hooked up for like SharePoint or OneDrive, Google Drive, whatever, because maybe that's where my company keeps their files. So they prefer to keep them there. I can also have that integration set up and be able to run my studio projects and studio sessions and have those files hosted there as opposed to on Bluebeam servers. So that's just another manner that we have to be able to sort of broaden the reach and the capabilities that Revu has. So I think that's kind of most of the things that I really wanted to highlight. Let me see if I can take a look at some of the questions. I see that there's a keyboard shortcut for reply. That I don't know. Let's take a look. Keyboard shortcuts guide. If you're unsure about what keyboard shortcuts are available, go up to your help menu and keyboard shortcuts guide. I don't know if I can. Let's see. Let's do our text search. Reply. Well, nope, nothing's showing up in our results. Okay, so let's do current document. Try it again. Nope, no results. It does not look like there's a keyboard shortcut for reply. But if you wanted to make note to Bluebeam about that, they do have their a space on their website where you can suggest things that you would like added to Revu. That would be a pretty good idea, actually, because sometimes your mouse might be too busy to like double click or have to come down here to the markups list and find the markup. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm kind of surprised about that there's not one. Let's see what other questions we have. Can we resize or make captures larger? The small size can be limiting. Let's see here. So I believe that the size of the capture is going to be determined by the image size. This was not a very large image that I added there. Perhaps if I had used a bigger one, it might be, a little bit more enlarged. But with this image in particular, that's about as big as it's going to get. Unfortunately, I don't have any others available to use it as an example currently. But I would guess that if it were a bigger image, a more high-res photo, that the capture itself would be larger. Let's see, what's next? How do I get the markups list to show up? Let's see. If it's not visible, generally it's almost always visible, but well, there's our let's see. If you don't see it, check down here in the bottom left corner, and if you see the little symbol like this, go ahead and click on that. That's going to bring it up for you. And if you would rather have it extend the full distance and not have your panel sort of cut it off, we can click on that button, and then it gets full precedence over the entirety of the width of the application. So it just kind of depends upon how you want to see it. But yeah, if you don't see it, look for that symbology, and it's going to be down here at the bottom corner. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, never mind, I found it. Okay. Can we do similar for session docs? No, the session docs, they don't go through the same check-in, check-out process. The session, when the session is active, it's just active. And that's this file is not meant for check-in, check-out because it's supposed to have multiple people working on it at the same time. So that's kind of the big inherent difference between a studio project and a session. Is the session makes a single PDF or a whole set of PDFs, multiple PDFs available for multiple people to work on for like a certain amount of time. Generally, that's how folks set them up, is for like a limited amount of time. Whereas a studio project document is just going to be there probably quasi indefinitely, and it just gets checked in and checked out individually as necessary. But yeah, the studio session, that is just going to be maintained active, I suppose, the entire time until the session ends. So yeah, that's kind of the bigger differences between those two. Let's see, what's the difference between studio project and studio sessions? Yeah, that's like I said, that's pretty much the main crux between the two. Okay, so the studio project, just think of that as more like a place where the files reside, whether it's PDFs or any other files that are related to that project, or I can have, if I could have a studio project where I had multiple, say, actual construction projects going on at the same time. Maybe this one is all for this school district or what have you. So that would, you could have multiple projects going for multiple different projects that are taking place, multiple different work situations that are going on. And you can have multiple sessions going on at the same time too, but this is the studio project is where files reside, and then a studio session is where a file is actually open and active and being worked on by either one person or by multiple people actively until that session ends. And when this ends, when this studio session ends, like say if I were to finish this session like so, it would close this out and no one could access it again. When that session is finalized, this PDF and all of the information that was in this studio session gets downloaded to whoever started the studio session, and then that file is essentially is gone to everyone. So yeah, those are the big differences between those two. Oh, Control-Shift-R, is that did you find it? Okay, let's try that out. Of course, it's not working for me, but sometimes keyboard shortcuts have a hard time working with this GoToWebinar situation. Oh, Command-Shift-R. Yeah, either way, for some reason, sometimes my keyboard shortcuts don't really work when I'm doing the GoToWebinar situation. Let's see, is there a way to interleave pages from different PDFs, not just merging one? Yeah, I mean, you could use your stitching function. Is there a way to interleave pages from different PDFs, not just merging one PDF after another, but interleaving the pages as well? Yeah, I mean, you could use your stitching function and stitch multiple pages together. That would certainly take care of it. If I had one more page open, more than one page open, that could be done. Is there a way to add the custom toolbox things like the font sizes, colors, styles in 8.5 by 11 and 24 by 36 formats? Well, any tool that I have that is customized, let's say a measurement tool. Let's see if I've got one here. Doing it well. Yeah, I guess any tool that I have customized in the past, anything that I have like previously altered the properties for. Let me put that into properties mode. So this is just a cloud that I've used in the past, and I saved it for an example. If you double click on these, you can go between properties mode and drawing mode. So this is drawing mode. It wants me to draw it, and if I double click it, it goes into properties mode, and then it's an exact copy of the first one that I did. No matter what the scale is on the page, or no matter what page size I'm using, it will stay relative to what the scale is. So let's say if I, used a, had a radius tool, and let's say I want to save that. I need that exact same 6 foot 10 3/4. Let's say I want to use that over and over. It's saved. I dragged it up here and I saved it into my tools. No matter what, drawing I open up next, as long as the scale is set, it will still show up as 6 foot 10 3/4 inch, just in relation to the scale that is set on that page. So that measurement will stay active no matter what the size of the paper is, or no matter what my scale is. That measurement tool will stay accurate. So I believe that's the question that you're asking. I hope that's the question that you're asking, or I hope that explanation makes sense. But it looks like we're getting towards the end of our time, and I am running out of voice again. So I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with me, and even though we kind of bounced around a few different ideas, hopefully everybody got something out of it and can see a little bit more of the capabilities that are available to us as far as being able to collaborate and really communicate with one another, get our ideas across, and make sure that the correct information is disseminated every time. And again, I appreciate everybody's time. My name is Luke, and I hope to see you all the next time that I do one of these. And have a good rest of the day.